78 on the top. La, so, fa, la, fa, la, so, fa, la, fa, la, so, two.
Thank you, Sacred Harp singers. Thank you all for being here. Now shall my inward joys arise and burst into a song. That was one of Bill's favorite hymns, and so it's appropriate that we open with it. Friends and family, brothers and sisters, singers and tea connoisseurs, beloved kinfolk who are gathered here today to celebrate the life of Bill Waddington. He left this earth back in January, but it seems longer than that and shorter than that. Now here we are on this blustery spring day to celebrate a life well lived and affirm his presence with us now and always, if from behind the veil. Bill would say that this day is too much hoopla. And for a guy with all of his success, he didn't want to bring too much attention to himself. He was uncomfortable with all of the well-deserved accolades that he received. He'd rather be a member of the choir, lifting his voice in concert with everyone else. And so this service will be filled with the music that he loved, We'll hear some poetry that he loved. We'll hear memory from friends that he loved. We'll reminisce, we'll laugh, we'll cry, we'll pray, we'll send our best wishes to his family and friends. After today's service, you're welcome to linger a bit and visit with each other and celebrate life well lived with a dinner on the grounds, which is actually a dinner in the basement. So you'll find food down on the lower level that-a-way. So you can get there by going through these doors and going down the stairs. If you have mobility issues and don't want to deal with the stairs, you've got two options. One is you can go on this ramp across the stage, through some doors, and down, and you'll be on another level, and at the end of the hall is an elevator. You can also get to that elevator out the front door and on a ramp that will meet you right down at the portico. And if you can't find a place to sit, there are balconies. We've got a balcony back there and a balcony up here. Just find a spot for you to sit. If you get lost, not knowing where you are, just ask someone. They'll find it. They'll show you. Let us gather our thoughts and our imaginations in prayer. God of life and death, our ever-present help when we mourn, the eternal one who never does impose pain and death upon us willingly, give us the ability in this time of sorrow to bow before you in worship as our divine protector and source of love. Comfort those who are burdened with sorrow. Heal those who are filled with regrets. Speak to each of us through your holy word that we might be filled with your love and comfort. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We've got somebody reading. There you are. Okay.
Bill lived his life on three guiding principles: be kind, do good work, and enjoy the passage of time. The following readings reflect Bill's dedication to service. From Dolores Huerta. Giving kids clothes and food is one thing, but it's much more important to teach them that other people besides themselves are important, and that the best thing they can do with their lives is to use them in the service of other people. From the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verses 35 and 36. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. From Martin Luther King. Everyone can be great because anyone can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. Be kind, do good work, and enjoy the passage of life.
Let us sing together the hymn that is printed in your bulletin, "The Lord is my shepherd." You can stay seated if you'd like.
From Chaminda Jayawardena, in loving memory of Mr. Bill Waddington, founder, Tea Source. With deep sorrow, we mourn the passing of Mr. Bill Waddington, a true pioneer and a lifelong friend of the Lumbini Tea Valley. In 2004, when Lumbini Tea was still in its infancy, Mr. Bill placed his trust in us by purchasing 5 kilograms of silver tips, marking the very first export from the Lumbini Tea Valley. That single act of belief did more than open international markets. It opened doors of opportunity, dignity, and hope. Through his vision and support, Lumbini Tea found its place on the global stage. More importantly, his faith helped uplift and empower an entire community of over 30,000 people living in the Lumbini Tea Valley, whose livelihoods, pride, and futures have been shaped by the journey he helped begin. Mr. Bill was not just a buyer or a businessman. He was a mentor, a champion of origin, and a believer in people behind the tea. His contribution will forever remain woven in the story of Lumbini. We extend our deepest condolences to his beloved wife, Liz Pauley, and daughter, Maggie Waddington. Our thoughts and prayers are with you during this time of profound loss. Thank you, Sir Bill Waddington, for believing in Lumbini when few did, for opening the world to our tea, for helping an entire valley and its people stand tall. Your legacy will live on in every cup of Lumbini tea shared across the world. Signed, Lumbini Tea Family.
I will be reading 2 reflections on loss. The first is Sing On There in the Swamp, which is an excerpt from When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloomed by Walt Whitman. Sing on there in the swamp, O singer bashful and tender, I hear your notes, I hear your call, I come presently, I understand you. But a moment I linger, for the lustrous star has detained me. The star, my departing comrade, holds and detains me. Second reading is titled, Perhaps They Are Not Stars. It's an Inuit proverb. Perhaps they are not stars, but rather openings in heaven where the love of our lost ones pours through and shines down upon us to let us know they are happy.
Shared in newsletter and on social media. So that's what I'm going to offer for you today. It starts like this. Did I ever tell you about when some friends and I made tea in the desert? I worked with Bill and a small group of tea colleagues, all of us scattered across the country through organizations like World Tea Expo and Specialty Tea Institute for well over a decade. From 2005 onward, they became my extended family. We taught together around the U.S. all year round. I think our last workshop that we taught together as a group was in 2019. I was very young when we started working together, my mid-20s. I'm 44 now. But Bill never treated me any differently because of that. He respected both who I am as an individual and how I learned, the legacy that I came from. And I can't stress enough that this kind of acceptance was wildly uncommon from other people I worked under or alongside in the industry. I constantly had to prove my worth, validity, proficiency, everything. It was and remains exhausting. But with Bill and a very small handful of other self-assured, confident, non-threatened, easeful, just generous-hearted people, and I mean like 6 people, no joke, I could be myself. There was nothing to prove, and my contribution mattered. I never felt like I had to be someone I'm not with Bill. And to put that in perspective for anyone who knows me or has spent any time with me, Bill got to meet the Loves, my plush buffalo friends. They hung out with us at our teacher's table. So us tea friends had this workshop that we offered a few times at World Tea Expo over the years. It was a 2-day tea processing workshop, crafting 5 styles of tea, white, green, oolong, black, and yes, even yellow tea one year. The raw leaf material was specially sourced and flown in from Hawaii and Mississippi tea farms via refrigerated crates. World Tea Expo most years takes place in the driest of climates, the Mojave Desert in Las Vegas. These workshops were a huge logistics puzzle to solve every year. The air conditioning, the humidity, the lack of fresh sunlight. We cobbled together, quote, equipment that mimicked tea production machinery, and it was glorious fun. Truly our crowning achievement in tea nerdery. We got to run that workshop several times over the years, shockingly. And I just remember how magical those times were. And that the teas turned out pretty damn good, actually. And that I was so blessed to teach alongside the most generous, amazingly kind-hearted teachers. Bill, along with my closest other tea friend, Donna Fellman, who's the founder of World Tea Academy, and people like the extraordinary Benjamin Milliken. And I remember being in awe. What did I ever do to deserve such generosity? And this question is what pushed me into mentorship, actually. Realizing that as I got older, oh, now it's my turn to do this for other people. And I'll remember Bill this way, with that enormous smile and booming laugh, and great singing voice too. In 2015, I started down a huge unknown, building my own small tea business. And sure enough, Bill was one of the first folks to reach out to me about collaborating together. Very eager. I also remember how much he genuinely cared for me and thought about me and my partner. He always asked how Jonathan was doing, knowing they have health challenges and manage a disability. And I distinctly remember how Bill would ask this first in conversation, not at the end like most folks do when casually catching up with someone. He asked first. And to this day, I've never met anyone else with this habit. Bill just genuinely exuded care, always, in spite of his cultivated, grumpy old man vibes that he was so proud of. And I also remember that Bill was the first and the only person in my life who noticed when I had an eating disorder. And no shade to my dear partner in saying that. We both struggled with our health a lot in those years. Bill gently asked me how I was doing and said that I seemed tired or smaller. Was I doing okay? And he knew I was in a bad situation with the folks I was working for and sensed that I wasn't handling it well in my body. And honestly, that Bill was the only one who truly saw me when everyone else congratulated me for my dramatically slimmer appearance. Saved my life. I also want to express just what a huge role Bill played in nurturing a generation of tea lovers in this country who are not pretentious, not rude, not looking down on people for how they take their tea. That's the Minnesota in building bridges and sharing culture with such commitment. For example, did you know that Tea Source was the first company to offer Hey Cha which is a kind of dark tea, like pu'er, originating in China, here in the United States. And that's just who Bill was. He believed in crossing borders and enlightening hearts and minds through tea. He would convert anyone who doubted. He mentored countless small tea businesses into building your own tea sanctuaries, places that value honesty, quality, craftsmanship, and people. Something very moving happened in one of my classes the same weekend that Bill passed. I host a monthly tea tasting gathering online here, where folks explore a set of teas that I send to them. And normally I don't share where our teas come from each month for very intentional teachery reasons. Education focus over shopping, collecting, experiencing tea in the moment, tasting and releasing something, etc. Bill and my other mentors also instilled in me the value of cultivating blind tasting appreciation, not knowing names and origins and details. And I follow that lesson meticulously to this day, but this time it felt it was important to share with folks. So along with sharing this personal memorial to our students in the program, a group of about 50 tea-loving folks, I also shared that all 3 of the teas we enjoyed this month happened to be from Tea Source. And the Keemun that everyone unanimously loved so much, Keemun was Bill's favorite tea too. And sure, maybe the quality of Keemun today isn't the same as Keemun 25 years ago, climate change, generational transitions in production skills, etc., as Bill would often lament heavily. But damn, if that cup on that Saturday didn't just hit in a way that I didn't know yet at the time. So much of who I am as a teacher and now mentor to future educators came from being supported deeply by just a handful of warm, patient, truly present teachers in my life. All of them friends with each other too, because good people come in groups like that, and all of them equally heartbroken to lose their friend. I'm saying that just to emphasize for anyone feeling fearful or maybe hopeless at times about the world right now, that it doesn't always just take a village to change one person's life. Often it's just a few, maybe even just one. And it was for me, just a couple of people. And you could be that person for someone else too. Go do that. Go be someone's cheerleader. Go be a Bill Waddington to somebody. Thank you, Bill, for role modeling for me both friendship and mentorship without strings attached, and for always seeing me. I am a blurry mix of heartbroken and grateful, and I will miss you for all my days at the tea table.
Oh, God, did I love Bill. My name's Fred Graber, and I am one of the representatives who will be coming up here from his high school friends. We called ourselves the 72 Club. It's a bit of a misunderstanding because we actually all met in 1968, so it's almost 60 years together. And as my friend Mark categorized us, we were like a bunch of jigsaw puzzle pieces. We were weirdly shaped, and you couldn't figure out who we were separately. But together, we were a picture of a red barn. I don't know why. For us, Bill was the North Star, and we were just this wild band of brothers. And we would not have held together without Bill. For me, I was the kid in high school who just wanted to make people laugh. Right, I'm the guy that they took aside and said, "Is everything a joke with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, kind of." And I made a living doing it. Sue's mentioned Bill's booming laugh. It was the most honest laugh you could get. I would make jokes with my friends, and I'd glance over to see, did this one land with Bill? Or he loved it when I took a big swing and I bombed. Because that's who he was. Cut to today. Liz wrote to me and said, would you like to remember Bill? And I said, I could do it straight, but I got this thing that's been rattling around in my brain since he passed away. And Liz and Maggie were kind enough to say, yeah, let's take a big swing. Bill, you may love this either way. Who knows where it's going to go? So Bill and I shared many, many deeply personal moments together. And from time to time, I would say to him, Bill, we've got to tell people about this. We have to tell people about what we've done, who we are, and when will we do that? And Bill would say, you'll know when the time is right. And so I think the time is right. In December of 1972, Bill and I were married in a secret ceremony in Caracas. Caracas, Venezuela. For 5 beautiful days, Bill was known as El Capitan, and I as Evita. At the end of 5 days, Bill said to me, Evita, this isn't working. I cannot get a decent cup of tea here to save my life. Cut 2 years later, the legend of El Capitan had traveled across Latin America to Cuba, where it had reached the ears of Fidel Castro, who invited El Capitan and Evita to the presidential palace. And there we were feted with dinner and cigars, and as is Fidel's way, we were lectured for 16 hours on the history of Cuba and La Revolucion. As the sun rose over Havana, Castro presented Bill with a cake in the shape of Cuba. And he said, El Capitan, you are the only honest man of integrity. I give you my country. To which Bill said, I'm sorry, I'm off sweets. I cannot accept your offer. And besides, I have met a beautiful woman named Liz, and I am returning to Minneapolis, where, do not worry, I will continue La Revolucion. And besides, Fidel, I cannot get a decent cup of tea here to save my life. Not so long ago, Bill and I were in Japan. China. I'm a Chicagoan, and it all gets mixed up over on that side. And while we were there, Bill invented Bitcoin. He thought it would be an amusement for people like astrology. And of course, he did find tea there, all the tea in China. And he would have stayed, except there was Liz, and there was Maggie, and there was all of you who he had here in Minneapolis, and so he returned home. Now, why would I have gone to these, why would I make up these lies? To describe Bill with real words, husband, father, friend, entrepreneur, does not get anywhere close to the fantastical person he was. And so I resorted to fantasy to just for a moment capture the spirit of this man, Bill. Bill, wherever you are, El Capitan, te amo.
I'm going to speak a little bit away from the microphone because usually I'm loud enough for everybody, with or without. If you have a problem, raise your hand. We have already heard about Bill's 3 rules, which he cited to me quite a bit over dinner from time to time. Be kind, do good work, enjoy the passage of time. And if I had Bill's courage and common sense, I would just sit down now, but I don't. And so I'm going to supplement those rules with something that Brian Doyle, a writer out in Portland who died himself not that long ago, wrote, and they were published in his posthumously published book of essays, One Long River of Song. You do your best to reach out tenderly, to touch and elevate as many people as you can reach. You bring your naked love and defiant courage, and I think Bill would like this, salty grace. Salty grace. You bring these to bear as much as you can with all the attentiveness and humor you can muster. You cannot order or command everything. All you can do is face the world with quiet grace and hope you make a sliver of difference. You must trust that you, being the best possible you, matters somehow. That trying to be an honest and tender parent will echo for centuries through your tribe. That doing your chosen work with creativity and diligence will shiver people far beyond your ken. And that being an attentive and generous friend and citizen will prevent a thread or two of the social fabric from unraveling.
My name is Mark Mayer. I'll start by thanking Liz, Maggie, Reverend Doug for inviting us and all of you coming here today for Bill's celebration of life. Bill, a wonderful friend and person who lived a full and fulfilling life. There were many sides to Bill: curious, intelligent, intense, quiet, yet willing to share with others. He had a sense of humor and a memorable laugh. And I will again echo what you have heard from a couple people already. For him, it was family and friends first, guided by three thoughts: be kind, do good work, and enjoy the passage of time. To me, Bill was always Bill. We met over 65 years ago in kindergarten. We went to grade school together, high school. We were apartment mates several times in our 20s and stayed in touch and spent time together over the years. He continued to grow and become the person true to who he was. Early on, we were the shorties. If you saw some of these pictures up here, we were the first row of boys behind the seated girls in the class pictures, with the taller girls and the taller boys behind us. Liz picked out Bill from the 8th grade class picture because of his mischievous smile. We hung out at Ridge Park, especially during the summers when we were out of school, playing baseball, softball, and football. In 7th and 8th grade, we were blessed to have a very special teacher. In fact, I was talking with Marcy earlier, and she brought her up also. Mrs. Ella McGill taught us history, but also life lessons: how to balance a checkbook, how to look up words in a dictionary, how to read maps. And maybe that's where the seeds of teaching were planted with Bill. We had an 8th grade class project, making a crossword puzzle. We ended up calling it Birds and Words. Bill loved words, and he loved to read. Some of his favorite books and authors were Lord of the Rings and John Steinbeck. But Bill couldn't just read just by reading. He had to read even more. So he took the Evelyn Wood speed reading course so he could devour even more than he did already. From there, we went to Marist High School, taught by East Coast religious brothers and local lay teachers who greatly expanded our horizons. There we met friends who continue to be friends today. There, Bill was first exposed to the Quetico wilderness. Bill loved the wonder of being outdoors, being in the mountains, in the woods, on lakes, and on rivers. During those years, Bill started listening to and sharing music, folk, rock, jazz, classical. He loved the songs of Steve Goodman and John Prine. We went to hear John Mayall and the Mahavishnu Orchestra. Recently, and we continue to share music, recently Bill shared the spiritual sung by Bozy Sturdivant, "Ain't No Grave Can Hold My Body Down," resonates here today. As was said, music was the soundtrack to enjoy the passage of time. Bill also had little quirky things he enjoyed doing. He liked to juggle. We'd go into a store or whatever in the produce section, and all of a sudden, there he was with the apples, the plums, and everything else. Fortunately, nothing hit the ground. Bill started working in grocery stores in high school. Started as a bagger, then a stockman, then a manager, and then a trainer, always striving to be the best. From there, he pursued his love and passion for tea, combined with his experience in the food business and his ability in logistics. He started and made Tea Source the wonderful place that it was. He did good work. Along the line, he became involved in sacred harp, shaped note singing. It's one of the reasons why we are all gathered here today. Through that, he met Liz, because he needed a vocal teacher because he wanted to be better than he was. They ended up married and then brought Maggie into their family. Liz and Maggie were the most important part of his life. Bill loved to walk a lot and a long way, sometimes alone, sometimes with others. We would go out early in the morning with flashlights and safety vests. Bill made sure we all appreciated how fortunate we were to have our families and our friends. What it took to keep that alive and thriving. He took time to personally talk to each of us to find out what we were doing and what we could do. He wanted to know and to share. Considerate, protective, and dedicated to all of us. Beyond that, he worked with other people, with the American Red Cross and with Alzheimer's people, helping them with life tasks and how to get by. Last summer, we went up to Porcupine Mountain State Park. The gateway town is called Ontonagon. We had a hard time pronouncing that. And Bill says, no, that's simple. Ontonagon. And there we were. Even with his recent diagnosis, he let us visit and share time with him. This is how he lived his life. Family and friends first. Be kind. Do good work, and enjoy the passage of time. Bill did, and we will. Thank you, Bill.
The prolific hymn writer Isaac Watts penned these words a couple centuries ago. God of our life, look gently down Behold the pains I feel, but I am dumb before thy throne, nor dare dispute thy will. Thanks for all these words spoken and sung here today. It's hard to encapsulate such a magnificent man and life in a short service, but we've already heard a lot about him, and I'm sure during the reception we'll hear a lot more Bill stories. Like many of you, I knew Bill from the singing community. He was a stalwart pillar on the bass bench. He traveled near and far to sing this boisterous music. One of the good things about this style of singing is how egalitarian it is. It's not solo music. It's not music to actually be listened to. It's music to experience. It's ensemble music. And if you don't have a good voice, that's okay. You're welcome to the group. There's no leader, just a shared passion. I would often sit across from Bill in the treble section and watch him close those piercing blue eyes and lean back and lift his voice to the heavens. Long after he relinquished his tea-making duties to his disciples at the Minnesota Sacred Harp Conventions, Bill was often in charge of setting up tables and chairs for our conventions, our gatherings. And he used his exacting organizational skills to do it just right. He didn't bark orders, but he had that look about him to let you know that you were doing it either the right way or the not so right way. Like many in this room, I learned to appreciate tea from Bill. Who knew that different teas need different temperatures? Everybody in this room, of course, because you're all Bill's disciples. Who knew that you didn't leave a tea bag in it forever? All of us, thanks to Bill, know that. You mean tea's not supposed to taste bitter? Huh. I remember stopping by the tea source in St. Anthony, and I looked at the racks of tea across the shelves, and my eyes glazed over. Seeing my look of desperation, he gently said, "If you're a coffee drinker, try this one." And as always, he was right. I have many of those little black bags in my home, as do all of us, and I enjoy thinking of Bill when I sample those. I got to really know Bill a lot more in these last few years. He had stopped singing because he couldn't trust his voice. He would know where to sing, but it wouldn't come out in the way he wanted it to. He confided with me that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and he wanted his time remaining to be alert, meaningful, and he didn't want to be a burden to his family and friends. Of course, we would always say, "You're never a burden, Bill," but that's not the way he was wired. He loved Liz and Maggie so much and didn't want to linger. Esophageal cancer took him long before the Alzheimer's could. He read somewhere that aerobic exercise could stave off the effects of dementia. And so he went to the gym. A lot. I would often see him there in the early morning hours. We were aging gym rats together. He lit up when he saw me. You know, he was often kind of curmudgeonly, as we've already said. But in the last few years, he was driven, and he often had a smile on his face. He was driven to be useful and joyous, to savor the relationships that he had built and do as much as he could for as long as he could. Always the teacher, he developed a program for newly diagnosed people and their families, and he even shared with me a little flyer about it. He was so excited to share with us this wisdom, and of course his audiences were amazed and gratified. Bill wrote to me an email way back in January of 2024, and then he said, just FYI, I plan to live my life as I have for the past 25 plus years. I do not have a bucket list, although he did get a chance to go to Iceland and go to New York and to China a couple times, and always with Maggie and Liz. In at least 2 ways, I am very lucky, he said. I have time, and I've been given a wake-up call to make sure that I use my time well. Isaac Watts pens, but if my life be spared a while before my last remove, thy praise shall be my business still, and I'll declare thy love. I want to say a word or two to his family and friends gathered here. I know we're all grieving, and none of us grieve in the same way. Grief, as I've said, is a kind of madness. When we're in deep grief, we don't know where to turn, how to finish a thought, let alone make big decisions. So be patient with yourselves and be patient with each other. Don't worry if you don't remember everything, because we're here to help fill in the gaps. May we do so even after the festivities have worn off and the silence that Bill often filled becomes an aching cavern. Remember that you're never alone. Bill is there, looking upon you with that big smile and twinkle in his eye that means he's up to some mischief. And as you stumble and laugh at yourself, imagine Bill laughing along with you. I think this is what the psalmist was getting at when he said, where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light around me become the night, even darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light to you. This psalm says, like the old hymn, come home, ye who are weary, come home. Bill now exists in our memories, our prayers, our longings. Thanks God for sharing Bill with us for 72 years. Thanks, Bill, for gracing us with your presence. We'll try to be as strong as you, as wise as you, as loving as you, as honest as you, as creative as you, as challenging as you. Remember that you are with us in our prayers, our longings, and the love that we continue to share, and the music that we make. But I'm a sojourner below, as all my fathers were, says the hymn writer. May I be well prepared to go when I the summons hear. Let us pray. God, our comforter, you are a refuge and strength for us, a helper close at hand in times of distress. Be with us today and in the days ahead as we celebrate life and as we seek to not simply be visitors in this world, but people who drink deeply of human relationships, just like Bill. Help us to see the healing possibility in all of us, just like Bill. Help us to share beauty and hope, just like Bill. We thank you for the words that have been spoken out loud and the thoughts and the images that have been spoken in the deepest recesses of our souls. And now, God, take him home. Hold him tight, and may he join in the angel chorus which continues to enliven, encourage, strengthen, and challenge us as we seek to live our lives. May Bill's spirit wash over us today and every day. And as we make the tentative steps out of the hollow cave of our own sorrow, may we do so in gratitude for the gift we have received in Bill's life. Let the people say, Amen. The next hymn is Joyful, Joyful, We Adore You. It's printed in your bulletin. You can remain seated or you can stand, whatever you choose. Hear these ancient words from the Catholic burial mass. In paradisum deducant de angeli, in tua aventus suscipiant te martires, et perducant te in civitatem sanctam Jerusalem, chorus angelorum te suscipiat, et cum Lazaro quondam pauper aeternum habeas requiem. May the angels lead you into paradise. May the martyrs receive you at your arrival and lead you to the holy city of Jerusalem. May choirs of angels receive you, and with Lazarus, once poor, may you have eternal rest. Amen. Let us stand now and sing Amazing Grace.
let's just do the words.